Let me ask you something. If you woke up tomorrow and your job no longer existed, what would you do? I'm not talking about you being fired. I'm talking about your entire role being completely automated, outsourced, or simply obsolete. Because here's what's happening right now in 2026. AI isn't just getting better at writing emails or generating images anymore. It's writing code, diagnosing patients, analyzing legal documents, and managing entire workflows that used to employ hundreds of people. The World Economic Forum estimated 85 million jobs would be disrupted by automations alone in 2025. We're past that date now, and the disruption is accelerating. The question isn't whether change is coming, it's already here. The question is, what exactly do you do about it? And today I'm going to answer that question by running you through a series of smaller questions that will lead to one very clear conclusion. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what skill you should be learning in 2026 if you want financial security, the future that doesn't depend on a company deciding you're still useful. Let's start at the beginning. Before we speak about which skill to learn, we need to understand what makes a skill actually valuable, because not all skills are created equal. Some skills, you have to have a job to use them. You're essentially renting the skill to an employee. And if they don't need it anymore, the skill becomes useless to you. But a truly good skill, you own it completely, is my definition of a good skill. Basically something you own, not something you rent to an employer. That means you can take it anywhere, independently, and it has value outside of the traditional job structure. It can be exchanged directly for income, not indirectly, not maybe I get a promotion. You perform the skill, you get paid. Simple transaction. Thirdly, it remains valuable regardless of the economic cycle, recession, boom, pandemic, whatever it may be. The skill still has a demand because of a fundamental business or human need. Think about it for a second. How many people do you know that have spent 4 years and tens of thousands of dollars, pounds, learning a skill that only works if an employer hires it? Even then, only if the economy is good and only if that industry is thriving. That's not skill ownership. That is dependency. If we're looking for the best skill to learn in 2026, it has to pass all three of those tests. Now let's look at why some of these skills have passed the test of time, for decades, even centuries. Think about electricians. The job has existed for over a century through world wars, recessions, the dot-com bubble, the 2008 crisis, COVID-19, and now the AI revolution. And yet, electricians are still making money, they're still in demand, and they're still essential. Why? Because people will always need electricity. Businesses will always need systems. And buildings will always need wiring. The same goes for plumbers, carpenters, engineers, and lawyers. These aren't trendy jobs. They're not exciting. You're not going to see a plumber on the cover of Forbes speaking about how they're disrupting the industry. But here, what they have at most modern jobs, no, they solve a problem that will never go away. Society will always need clean water, and they will always need legal frameworks. The demand for these skills aren't tied to trends, investor hype, or some companies' quarterly earnings. It's tied to human necessity. Because of that, people who have these skills don't have to worry about the job market. They don't send out resumes hoping someone picks them. They don't refresh LinkedIn every second waiting for a recruiter to message. They have a skill, and as long as that skill is needed, they have work. I'll give you an example. There's a guy who used to work in corporate. One guy, good at his job, but when his company restructured, he was gone. Just like that. And he spent 6 months applying for jobs, getting rejected, and watching his savings disappear. He also knows someone who learned a high-value skill that businesses actually need. He went from getting financial aid from the government, which he hated, setting his own schedule and earning more money in 1 month than he was able to make in 4, because he had a skill that companies were willing to pay for immediately. No resume, no waiting, just results. That's the difference between renting your ability and having a real skill. It is the uncomfortable truth about the modern job market. It doesn't matter how good you are at your job if that job disappears. You could be amazing at what you do. If AI can now automate the majority of your responsibility, why is a company going to be paying you 50, 60,000 a year? You could be an incredible graphic designer, but if a business can type a prompt into AI and get their ideal design in 30 seconds, where does that lead you? This is why skill ownership is far more important than job availability. When you have a skill, when you own a skill, you don't wait for the market to give you opportunities. You create opportunities because the skill itself is an asset. An electrician doesn't need a job posting to exist. If someone needs electrical work done, they pick up the phone, call the electrician, transaction complete. A lawyer does not need to be hired by a firm to practice law. They can take clients directly. These people own their income because they own their skill. We know why some skills last for generations. What do we look for in a skill that's going to be valuable in 2026 and beyond? Here are the 5 characteristics that I have. Number 1, longevity. The skill needs to have survived technological shifts before. If it's only existed for the last few years, it's probably not durable. Number two, it has to be transferability. You should be able to use it across industries, across niches, and business models. If it only works in a narrow context, it's fragile. Number three, it has to be human-centered. This is critical. If something can be fully automated, it's on borrowed time. But if it requires trust, relationships, persuasion, or human judgment, it's much harder to replace. It's next to impossible to replace. Number four, resistance to automation. AI is incredible processing data and recognition and content generation, but it struggles with nuance, emotion, and high-stakes decision-making. Skills that live in that space are a lot safer. Number five, direct revenue generation. If the skill directly makes money for the business, that business will always pay for it. If it's a support function, it's vulnerable. Now, here's the key question. What modern skill checks all five boxes? Let's think about this logically. We're looking for something that has the durability of plumbing or being an electrician, but exists in the modern economy. We need something that businesses will always need, no matter what industry they're in, no matter what the economy is doing. We need something that AI cannot replace because it is fundamentally human. And we need something that directly generates revenue, so businesses will always pay a premium for it. What skill fits that description? Think about what every business needs to have. Not the nice to haves, but the essentials. They need people who bring in money. And here's the thing, that is never going to change. Businesses can automate customer service. They can use AI for marketing. It can streamline operations, but it cannot automate the part where you build trust with a high value prospect, convince them to say yes to a premium offer. That part is still human, and it always will be. Let me tell you about someone like Trent, who desperately wanted to change his situation and have a skill that he could rely on. He learned the framework. He learned how to have the right conversations with the right people, and everything changed. He landed his first client and began making money within weeks. Now, he works from wherever he wants, and he still gets paid because he solves one fundamental problem every business has. They need more high-quality customers. That's the skill we're talking about. Here it is. The best skill to learn in 2026 is high-ticket sales, specifically starting with high-ticket appointment setting. Let me explain why this ticks every box that we've spoken about. Firstly, longevity. Sales has existed as long as commerce has existed. It survived every technical revolution, every economic shift, every cultural change, because every business needs people who can sell. Number two is transferable. You can use this skill in every industry. Real estate, coaching, SaaS, consulting, finance, health, education. It does not matter. Every business needs sales. It's centered around human. High-ticket sales is built on trust, persuasion, and understanding human psychology. AI can generate a script, but it cannot build rapport. It can't handle objections in real time with empathy and authority. That is a human skill. It's resistant to automation. The higher the price point, the more human interaction and trust is required. People don't spend 10, 50, 100,000 because a chatbot told them to. They spend it because the person they've built trust with walks them through a decision that makes sense for them. Most importantly, it directly generates revenue. This is the most important one. When you bring in a high-ticket client, you directly generate revenue for the business. Business will pay you extremely well for that because you're not a cost. You're an investment that pays for itself. Here's the beautiful part. You don't need a degree. You don't need credentials. You do not need years of experience. You just need the skill. And once you have it, you own it forever. You can work with any business that has a high-ticket offer. We're talking over $1,000 plus. You can work remotely and you get to choose who you work with. You're not waiting for someone to hire you. You're not waiting for the economy to be good. You're not worried about AI taking your job because you own a skill that businesses will always need. Now, I didn't figure this out myself. I spent years learning it, testing it, refining it, and teaching it to people exactly where you are now, looking for a skill that actually works in the real world. And I've watched people go from zero sales experience, landing a client, setting calls, closing bills, and creating an income they can control after the nick around the fuddle of a lost fun time. If you're someone who's serious about learning the skill the right way, with a proven framework, real support from someone that's been able to generate $1.4 million in revenue, the business is online, put together a program that takes you through exactly how to do this. It is not for everyone. Only work with people who are committed and ready to put in the work. If that's you, put a link in the description where you can apply. I'll personally review it, and if you're a good fit, then we'll have a conversation. Here's what I want you to take away from this. The world is changing faster than it ever has before. Jobs that felt secure 5 years ago don't feel secure now. Real skills, they don't disappear. The electrician doesn't worry about automation. A plumber doesn't worry about outsourcing. The lawyer doesn't worry about trends. In 2026, the person who knows how to sell high ticket doesn't worry either because they own something that will always be valuable. The question is, are you going to spend the next year hoping your job is safe? Or Are you going to invest in a skill that makes you irreplaceable? The choice is yours. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, drop a comment and let me know what skill you're working on right now. And if you're ready to take that next step, I'll see you on the other side. Let's get to work.